I'm back. You may have noticed that I took a short break from doing my new moon and full moon forecast on this channel. And, I realized something important. I actually really miss creating these videos and sharing them with you all. And I also have been hearing from a lot of you that you've been missing these videos as well. And so what better time to come back than right now, just in time for this incredible, very transformative, very powerful full moon in the sign of Capricorn that's happening this weekend. This full moon is all about solidifying long-awaited changes and manifesting our wildest dreams into reality. This full moon is happening at 29 degrees in the sign of Capricorn, which means that this is a culmination that is going to lead us to let things go. This is the second full moon in Capricorn in a row, which is kind of a rare occurrence. And it's bringing in some of the most positive and deeply healing and, again, transformative energy. That's one of the best ways to put this of the entire year. And so we're going to dive into everything you need to know to navigate and harness this powerful energy. And so in this video, we're going to dive into everything you need to know to not just navigate, but also harness this really powerful, really beautiful energy of the full moon in Capricorn, including a forecast for all 12 signs. But before we get into it, I just wanted to make a super quick, super exciting announcement. Those of you who are newer to my channel, or maybe who don't watch my other tutorial videos, may not know that I am a medical astrologer. That is my passion, and it's one of the things that I practice and that I teach here on my channel and in my medical astrology courses. And I also happen to practice kinesiological muscle testing. Applied kinesiology is another term you might hear for it, or autonomic response testing. But it's something that I do for myself, for my family, for my friends, for my animals. And it's something that I would love to do with my clients someday, and I'm working toward that as well. And it's really a beautiful thing to combine the knowledge that you get, this broad overview where you can see so many themes and how they connect to your health in medical astrology, with the specificity that you can get with using advanced forms of muscle testing when it comes to looking at somebody's health. And so I am going to be joining forces with a advanced muscle testing expert. Her name is Elizabeth Clark. You might know her from over on Instagram. And we're going to be doing a workshop on medical astrology and self-muscle testing that we're going to be teaching live on August 29th. In this 2-hour workshop, you're going to learn how to determine predestined areas of weakness in your body using medical astrology. And we're going to be tying this into potential trauma and emotional triggers that are directly connected to your organ systems and body areas. And we're going to do this using a combination of advanced muscle testing and medical astrology. So to kind of put it simply, we're going to help you identify the emotional and psychological triggers and roots of your symptoms so you can embark on a journey to true holistic healing. This workshop is literally one of a kind. There's nothing else like this that exists anywhere that I know of. This is something that we have created together, and it's something that we've both utilized in our own practice. Elizabeth has studied medical astrology and practiced medical astrology herself too, and we've both been combining medical astrology and muscle testing to work on our own self-healing because we've both dealt with chronic illness. If this is something that's interesting to you and you want to learn more about it, the link to enroll and to just learn about the program is down in the description below. I hope to see some of you there in the workshop on August 29th. So let's start with the general forecast for the full moon in Capricorn. And just as a reminder, because it's been a while, try not to skip this because it provides an important context for what we're going to be getting into when we get into the forecast for all 12 signs. And so this will only take 10 to 15 minutes, and this is going to provide you with extra detail about the full moon in Capricorn and all of the different little intricacies that we're not going to be covering or not going to have time to cover in every single forecast for all of the signs. And so this full moon in Capricorn, as I mentioned before, is an N degree full moon. It's happening at 29 degrees in the sign of Capricorn. This is a let shit go energy. This is a time to release, to surrender, to move on. This is a culmination that leads to an unraveling. But the unraveling is highly welcomed. This is a time to stimulate the change that you've been needing to make in any area of your life that's been subject to disruption over the past couple of weeks. We just had a really powerful, very chaotic conjunction between Mars and Uranus. This happened on July 15th. I'm sure at this point you're all well aware of that, given what has happened out in the world as a result of that energy. But it probably caused at least a minor agitation in your life, let's say, if you didn't get hit super hard by this. Or, for a lot of you, you might have had a very sudden, abrupt upheaval, a shocking change, something that came into your life and turned it upside down, that rattled you in a way that was life-changing. And so regardless of where you're at on this spectrum, think back to around that time. If it was a minor agitation, it was telling you that you need to shift or change something. If it was a big, obvious, crazy circumstance that came up and changed everything for you, well, then you don't really have a choice in the matter. Things are changing. Regardless of what's going on here, this full moon is in a really nice trine with Uranus. And so it's helping you see the big picture of what this disruption really meant for you and what you can do with it, what you can make with it moving forward. And so I love this energy for that. This is also going to be a conjunction between the full moon at that 29th degree in the sign of Capricorn and Pluto at 0 degrees in the sign of Aquarius. So what does that mean? Pluto is the planet of extremes. It's the planet of depth. It's the planet of intensity. It's the planet of getting to the core issue and exposing it and bringing it out into the open, especially when you have the illumination of the full moon conjoined with that Plutonian energy. So this is going to be a revelatory moment for a lot of people. It's like you just had this disruption and then something is being revealed to you that maybe you didn't see before, that is a core truth that is important to your life's path, that is important to your life's purpose, that is important to navigating the direction that you need to move into moving forward. It could also be another energy of surrender, right? When we have these Plutonian energies, it's very extreme. You're either all in or all out. And what's interesting about this is it's kind of as if something is coming to this culmination point, something probably very tangible and very physical, and you are probably getting some sort of intuitive hit or even psychic hit, like a knowing that you need to wrap it up and start winding it down so you can move into this thing that you feel deeply called to or deeply passionate about, or something in your life that you really need to transform or heal through that is really calling to you right now. And so it's kind of like you need to come to this peak and everything is starting to manifest and everything is starting to become much more clear. And then you're like, okay, that's there. Now I need to start working on letting this go because I have this other thing here. And this is truly what I feel very intensely that I need to be focusing my energy and attention on. And that could be a lot of different things. We'll talk more about it in the forecast for all 12 signs, of course. And the other thing that's happening here, so we have Uranus, right, in a beautiful trine. We have Pluto in an out of sign conjunction, but still very, very tight within a degree. And then we have Neptune. Neptune is at 29 degrees in the sign of Pisces. It's going to be staying here, you guys, until 2026. Like on and off, Neptune will be sitting at 29 degrees for any length of time. I'm going to be talking about this really in depth in another forecast with astrologer Zoe Cardiff, who happens to be one of our former students and graduates from the Cosmic Academy of Astrology, which is my comprehensive astrology program. You can find information about that down in the description below if you want to learn astrology and become a professional astrologer like me or like Zoe. But we're going to be talking about that in really great detail because that's its own thing. And that needs its own forecast, and it's lasting literally till 2026. But this is highlighting something about that energy. But it's also with this 29 degree energy, 29 degrees is the anaretic degree. It's very volatile, and it's kind of an energy of being between realms or being between worlds. And you'll find that 29 degrees of any sign is a degree of psychic sensitivity, or at least extrasensory perception, like understanding things beyond normal, physical, tangible, like rational reality. And with the moon represents our intuition, right? It is our ability to have that gut instinct, that feeling about something. And it's at the 29th degree, which has to do with understanding things beyond this dimensional reality, right? It opens up your perception even more, even in the sign of Capricorn, where the moon is technically at its detriment. Moon in Capricorn usually wants some sort of tangible evidence of the intuition and the things that it's feeling. In this case, you might not need that so much because there's so much knowing. Like with that Pluto, you're going to be very discerning. Like things are going to become laser focused and laser clear for you, or crystal clear for you, I should say. And with this sextile to Neptune is all about dissolving the boundaries of the physical. It's the most psychic, intuitive, interconnected, compassionate energy. It kind of just dissolves all of the boundaries and makes everything into one big glob. So you're feeling all the things and connecting with all the things all at once. Luckily, there's some Saturn in the mix, so there's some boundaries there. And obviously the moon's in Capricorn, which helps. So you're not going to just melt into another dimension. But this is going to enhance our intuitive capabilities. This is an energy that can be utilized for getting clarity through intuition, through, reflection, through imagination, through dreams, like those types of things, about the changes that we need to make, because that's that Uranus component, and about what we need to release and let go of in order to focus on what is the core issue at hand. And so that's kind of the big pattern here. The final thing that I want to make note of is that Chiron is at 23 degrees in the sign of Aries, and it's in a pretty tight T-square with the sun and the moon. Anytime we have a full moon, what that is an opposition between the sun and the moon in the skies, right? And so we have the sun at 29 degrees in the sign of Cancer, and then we have the moon at 29 degrees in the sign of Capricorn, and it's forming a T-square with Chiron. Chiron is known as the wounded healer. It represents an innate wound, insecurity, vulnerability, trauma that we hold on to that causes us to feel uncomfortable or awkward in our own skin. It can bring up a lot of shame. It can bring up a lot of ickiness in general, and just not feeling good about yourself and what you're doing out in the world. And this could be agitating that for some people, because this isn't hitting necessarily your natal Chiron, unless you have your natal Chiron at the end degrees in the cardinal signs, which you might. This is hitting Chiron in the sky. And so I would say more collectively, this could be an agitation of that energy, a collective wound. Really what's been going on with this Chiron is more like a crisis or a wounding of identity, and personal identity, and that type of thing. And so we might see something along those lines coming up in the collective. On a personal level, it's kind of like you have all these changes that you need to make. You know what you need to let go of. You're getting this like intuition about moving on and moving forward. But then there's this little voice in the back of your mind that's like, I'm not good enough. I don't feel like I can do this, or there's this vulnerability that you might feel around jumping in and doing this due to past experiences, past wounds, and past traumas. And that is something to heal through and work on, which you could do very easily because it's very exposed, it's very out there, and you have all the support with these other planetary energies at the time of this full moon. All right, and so that is my general forecast. Before we get into the forecast for all 12 signs, I just want to make sure that you download my new and improved Astrology 101 quick reference guide. Even if you already downloaded the old guide in the past, you should have gotten the new one in your inbox first off. But if you didn't, go to the link in the description below. This is 100% free, and this is going to help you to get even more detail about how this extra fortuitous full moon in Capricorn will impact you more personally. Once you've downloaded the guide, you're going to want to look to see if you have planets in the earth signs. And this includes Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And if you have planets, especially at the end degrees, so anywhere from 25 to 30 degrees in the earth signs, the guide and the tutorials will show you exactly how to figure that out. These are significations that you'll find in the guide that are going to be subject to a lot of positive energy, where you're going to be able to have an easier way of understanding and perceiving what's going on there. The other thing that you want to look for is if you have planetary energies in two of the cardinal signs, especially in Aries and in Libra. So especially anywhere from, I would say, 20 to 30 degrees in Aries because of that Chiron, and 20 to 30 degrees in the sign of Libra. You're going to be experiencing this in a harsher way. It's still going to be beautiful and harmonious and all of these good things are happening, but there is some agitation here. And for you, there might be a more personal vulnerability, wound, insecurity, shame, awkwardness, guilt that you might need to work through and work on in order to let go of what you need to let go of and move forward with what you need to move forward with. And so pay attention to those things as well. Download the guide in the description. All right, so now it's the moment you've all been waiting for, the forecast for all 12 signs. Make sure, as always, you listen to your rising sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign to get a more holistic overview of the energy for the next couple of weeks ahead, especially for this full moon in the sign of Capricorn. Your rising sign will be the most predominant energy, your sun sign will be secondary, and your moon sign is important to listen to as well, although for most of you, this will be more internalized and subjective. And make sure you stick around until the end of this video because I'm going to be giving you a sneak preview of what you can expect for the new moon in the sign of Leo. All right, so let's get started. So for Aries and Aries rising, this full moon in the sign of Capricorn is happening in your 10th house of career, public reputation, the legacy that you leave behind even after your working years. It's the name that you make for yourself and what it is that you put out into the world at large. And so there is something that is reaching a culmination point here. There is something that is being highlighted when it comes to your career. This is especially highlighting the need to make some sort of change or let something go and move on from something related to your career, your public reputation, or your legacy in order to make space for facilitating the changes that need to be made or dealing with the aftermath of changes that have already occurred in your finances. The Uranus conjunction of Mars a couple of weeks, actually just like a week ago on the 15th of July happened in your second house of money, finances, savings, investments can even be there too. It's your property. It's the things that you own on a material level. And something here could have come in and disrupted that in a very shocking, abrupt, and unexpected way. And now there is a need to shift something, but it's very easy to see now from this perspective, from this full moon in Capricorn, what it is that you need to move on from, wrap up, and let go in the area of career in order to facilitate the changes that you need to make or deal with the aftermath of the changes that have already been made in that area of finance. And so that is the first thing that's going on here. It could also be that something has reached fruition and you're getting some sort of recognition when it comes to your work for completing something. It's almost like achieving some sort of milestone, and this is like you've reached the pinnacle and now it's kind of all downhill from here. But in a good way. It's kind of like, all right, now I can move on and I can do something different. This is a beautiful time to tap into your intuition about your work and your career path. So if you're having any struggles or any stuck energy there, now is a time where you can get a lot of clarity and you can figure out exactly what you need to do to move on and move forward with, whatever it is that you wish to achieve. You're going to get very clear, I think, on your goals and your aspirations when it comes to your career around the time of this full moon. For Taurus and for Taurus rising, the Uranus energy in your first house was activated very intensely on July 15th and around July 15th for a couple weeks before and after. It's still kind of there. And by this Mars conjunction. And so this could have been a major disruption across many different areas of life, but especially on a very personal level. It could have disrupted your sense of identity. It could have disrupted who you feel like you are out in the world, or the way other people perceive you and who you are out in the world. It could have been a disruption to your body. There could have been, health issues that arose. There could have been disruptions to your career, to your relationships, to your family situation. And there's a lot of different things. Like this reverberates out into really most of your chart when you have this happening in your first house, especially if you are an N degree Taurus rising. So if you have your rising sun or moon anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees, you would have been feeling this much more much more disruptively in a much more volatile way. But luckily, this full moon comes in and gives you a much needed sense of perspective. That is the biggest gift that this full moon gives you. It's kind of like it pulls you out of, being in it. It pulls you out of the chaos and into this like different perspective, this outside third party perspective where you can see things truly for what they really are. The ninth house, which is where this full moon is happening, is the house of your perspective that shapes your reality through your belief systems about God, the universe, the world around you, your philosophies, your moral and ethical value systems. And that is what you're going to be tapping into here, a higher understanding. It's kind of like you've been through the ringer and now you can step back and see like the meaning behind it, the purpose behind it, what you can create from that state of disruption, or how you can very easily deal with the aftermath in a way that's going to elicit a positive outcome. And so that is a beautiful thing going on here. This is also a very wonderful intuitive energy. This is a really great time to do some sort of spiritual or religious exploration or study, or to wrap up or complete some sort of religious or spiritual exploration or study. This is a good time to think about things coming full circle for some sort of educational program that you're either engaged in as a student, or maybe you're teaching or sharing, information with other people. There's something here that you need to kind of let it run its course. Like it's kind of like it's almost run its course and it's reaching this peak, and you can kind of feel like, all right, I need to start wrapping up, winding down from this. This could also highlight something involving travel. It's probably more like, it could be that there's new travel plans that come up, but it's probably something that has already happened or is happening. That's, again, reaching that culmination, reaching that point of kind of winding down and moving on from things. All right. And then for Gemini and for Gemini rising, this full moon is happening in your 8th house, which is an interesting house. It's the house of transformation. It's the house of trauma. It's the deepest psychological house. It's the house of death, of course. It's the house of taxes and inheritance and other people's money. And it's the house of the occult. And so for you in particular, this is going to be a very psychically charged full moon. Everyone's going to be able to tap into their intuition a lot more easily. Everyone's going to be able to tap into other realities much more easily, and to take what they have understood from tapping into that and transmute it into something real. That's another big part of this energy that I really love. And for you, you're going to be able to really get to the core of what's going on in a lot of different areas of life. So for you in particular, this is going to be a time to tap into your psychic abilities, do some occult studying, like study some sort of occult science like astrology or alchemy or, magic, witchcraft, something along those lines. This is a great energy for you in particular for spell work, if that's something that you're really interested in and that you're into. This is a really great time also for deeply understanding how your past fears, traumas, and anxieties are impacting you in the present moment, especially when it comes to your finances and especially when it comes to your career. So there's something going on here that's reached its fruition, it's reached its culmination that you need to let go of and move on and heal through in order to tap into your true potential when it comes to money and career stuff. This is also an energy where there could be something coming up for you when it comes to finances, when it comes to joint finances in marriage or in business partnership, when it comes to taxes, inheritance. If you've been waiting for some sort of payout, this could be the time where it actually comes to fruition and you get the money that you've been waiting on for quite some time. All right. And then for Cancer and for Cancer rising. So for Cancer, this full moon is happening in your 7th house, which is the house of relationships. There is something going on here in a very important and pivotal relationship that's reaching this culmination point. It's a point of moving on and letting go. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're letting go of a relationship, but it could be that you're letting go of some aspect of a relationship or some sort of disruptive energy that occurred in the last couple of weeks that caused conflict. So it's kind of like the conflict has reached its point of, it's starting to lessen, and it's reached this point where you can kind of sit down with that person one-on-one and really hash things out and in a compassionate way where you can really understand where they're coming from. You can feel for them. You can both understand each other's perspectives a lot more easily. So if you have had a lot of conflict within your social circle or with a close friend or multiple close friends over the course of the past couple of weeks, now's the time to sit down one-on-one with that person or those people, maybe individually, and hash things out, because this is a beautiful healing energy for all of your relationships, but especially those friendships that were maybe disrupted by that Mars-Uranus conjunction. In general, this is where something in a relationship reaches this beautiful culmination point. This is where you're going to be able to have a much greater sense of connection with your partner. If you are somebody who's married or in partnership, this is a beautiful time to go on a little excursion, do some travel, connect with them, more one-on-one. And this is a beautiful, beautiful time for all one-on-one, all relationship connections. I would say that if there's a relationship that's coming out of the woodwork, it's an old one, because that's that 29-degree energy. And it's kind of like it's being brought up so that way you can revisit it. But it's like kind of like it's reaching this culmination point where it's going to start to wind down from here. But you can see that and, kind of make peace with it if that's something that you need as well. And so that's what's going on for Cancer. For Leo and for Leo rising. For Leos, this full moon is happening in your 6th house, which is the house of health, work, and daily routines. And this is a really powerful healing energy for all Leo people. So if there's something that you've been dealing with and working through or working on when it comes to your physical health especially, now is a time where it finally reaches this point of culmination where you can see very clearly what you need to do in order to wrap this up, move forward, and finally heal once and for all. It looks like that there could be a psychological or traumatic connection to a physiological illness or some symptoms for some of you, or there could be a psychological or a trauma-based blockage to actually doing what you know that you need to do for your health and with your daily routines. And this is a time where you're going to be able to break through that a lot more easily, because you'll be able to see very clearly, very intuitively what's going on and exactly what you need to do moving forward. This is also where there's probably been some sort of disruption in your career or in your public status or public reputation that came up really abruptly in the last couple of weeks. It could have forced your hand and caused you to have to change something about the way that you put your energy out into the world or share, your ideas with the world. It could have forced you to change something very literally about your career path. And now's a time where you're going to be able to very easily understand intuitively and just gut instinct wise what it is that you need to do to deal with the aftermath of this on a day-to-day basis too, not just big picture, but every single day I know that I need to do this to work toward, my goal of dealing with the fallout of what just occurred, right? Or making the changes that I need to make in order to move forward. So this is a really beautiful energy for wrapping up old paradigms when it comes to your work and your daily work habits and moving into something really better and much more beautiful that's going to feel much more freeing and much more liberating for you when it comes to your career path overall. For Virgo and for Virgo rising. So for Virgos, this energy is happening in your 5th house. And this is a beautiful energy. This is the house of fun, play, hobbies, passion projects, things that you do because you love to do them. It's also the house of sex and romance and also procreation and children. So all of these themes are going to be highlighted around the time of the full moon on the 21st. And so this is a really beautiful time for you to wrap something up for a big creative project. That could be what a lot of you are doing who are Virgo and Virgo rising. I would say that the Mars-Uranus conjunction might not have been super disruptive in a negative way unless you have other planetary energies involved. And so there could have been a paradigm shift that happened in the last 2 weeks for you. And that's helping you to understand something in a different way that could be very positive for you in terms of the way that you view the world, the way that the paradigm that shapes your reality. But this could be a really great energy for Again, like wrapping up a creative project, but it could also be, wrapping up something really important involving a love interest. This is a really great time, by the way, for going out and doing something really exciting and new and different with a partner, like going out on the town and having a really good time, or going and, having a really crazy romantic getaway or something like that. Like all of these things are very beautiful for Virgo rising people. This could be you having to change something or bring something to kind of its culmination and start winding down with something involving your children. There could be a certain circumstance with your children that is finally resolving and you're finally like, okay, this is what we're doing here. This is also a really good time to think about your children's education or higher education. There could be something going on there that's been disrupted, and this is going to help you to understand what you need to do and what your role is in guiding your child in the right direction moving forward. And then for Libra and Libra rising, this full moon is happening in your 4th house, which is the house of home, family, property, and real estate. And so this is culminating in the area of kind of things being behind the scenes. So this is not the most social full moon for you necessarily. This is more about what's going on behind closed doors, what's going on at home. This could be a wrapping up or a culmination of something that began last month, really, involving your home or your living situation where, you finally realize that this has reached its endpoint, and it's a beautiful thing and you're like happy about it. But you're like, okay, this needs to wind down. This needs to kind of move on. This is also where if there has been a disruption in your financial situation in the last couple of weeks, your family or leaning on some sort of property that you own, like a home or real estate, could be the answer or the solution. Or there could have been a disruption to some sort of like mortgage or home loan situation or even like renting. I mean, that could be part of it too, but really this is more about like borrowing money or something like that. But there could have been some disruption, and now you're finding the solution to that. There could have been some issue involving like a mortgage, and now you're finding the solution to that. That could be a big part of this energy too. This is also highlighting changes that you need to make in your living situation. Very straightforward. And so, if you've been afraid to make the leap, this is where fear is no longer going to hold you back because of the disruptive circumstances that occurred in the last couple of weeks. Especially when it involves your finances or just literally your fears. Like there's something came and rattled you maybe and brought up old fears and anxieties that are related to especially like early childhood experiences and things like that. And maybe you realize now that you're no longer going to let that control you, and you're going to live your life and, move to the place that you want to move to, or whatever it is that this is coming up for you, like in terms of that. This could also be a really powerful time to heal through and let go of some sort of past issue involving your family or your parents, like your family of origin. So if there was some sort of trauma in early childhood, it's kind of like you're able to see it from a different perspective and, understand it more compassionately, let things go, move on from it. Really beautiful energy for healing through any psychological issues that are causing physiological problems in your body, or any psychological issues that are causing problems with your relationship with your family. For Scorpio and Scorpio rising, this full moon is happening in your 3rd house, which is the house of community. It's the house of your neighbors in your neighborhood. It's the house of communication and teaching and education. There's so many things that go on in the 3rd house. It impacts our day-to-day life a lot. a lot. People don't give the 3rd house enough credit. And for you, this is a culmination that has to do with maybe putting something out there in terms of information. Maybe there's something you started last month that's finally reaching fruition, and you're finally ready to release it, let it go, share it with the world, and then move on from it and move into something else. So maybe you're launching something like a podcast or a blog, or you have a really important message that you want to share with the world, and finally you're ready to let it out. There could have been a really disruptive circumstance that occurred involving your one-on-one relationships, so like your marriage partner or a business partnership or a close friendship. And this is a time where you're going to be able to communicate in a way that's going to help resolve the aftermath of the chaos of that issue. So this is a really great time to connect one-on-one in partnership with somebody. This is a really great time to reconnect with your partner if there's been a lot of chaos going on in your partner's life, where you can really ground. This is a great time for a short distance travel, a short distance trip. That's what I'm doing with this energy. Going camping up in the mountains with my husband, because he's had a lot of chaos and we haven't been able to connect as well the past couple of weeks because of that Mars-Uranus conjunction. That's one very literal example of what could be happening for you and how you can utilize this energy in a really beautiful way. This could also be the culmination of something involving a vehicle. So maybe you're ready to sell a vehicle, move on from a certain mode of transportation, and it's a beautiful thing and it's time to release. Or maybe it's time to purchase a new vehicle. That could be part of it too. But this is more about kind of like the letting go portion of the energy. There could also be a lot of action going on in your immediate surroundings, your community, with your neighbors. If there was a situation that's come up, maybe the Mars-Uranus was a very disruptive, confrontational energy, with somebody that in your community. And this is a really beautiful time where that can be resolved. This is a great time to connect with community and be involved in community events. Really positive changes and really beautiful circumstances can come out of that you don't even realize. And it can help stimulate your intuition about something really important, to just get out there and communicate with people, like small talk with, the cashier at the local grocery store or with your neighbor down the street. That has more weight and more importance than it normally does at the time of this full moon. And then for Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, this full moon in the sign of Capricorn is happening in your second house of finances. And so this could be something coming to fruition, coming full circle, involving a financial situation, something that you need to pay for, a major purchase that maybe you've been working on for quite some time, maybe since last month. So maybe you've been working on closing a deal since, June, the end of June, middle of June. And now it's finally wrapping up, it's finally closing up, it's finally coming to fruition. There was a disruptive energy in your sixth house, which is the house of health, work, and daily routines, that caused you a little bit of a headache that came up in the last couple of weeks. And so this full moon is helping you to see how you need to change things moving forward when it comes to your health, work, and daily routines in order to make things better for you, just on a day-to-day basis and just with your work and with your career, but also financially. There's something that you were doing that was maybe not financially viable that you realize now you need to do in a different way in order to make it work for you long term. And so that could be part of this energy as well, or something that you need to let go of. It's kind of like, yeah, this was great, this project that I did, but it caused me so much chaos and, it wasn't worth the money, and I'm ready to let that go. That could be a big part of this as well. There could be something that comes up that there's like an intuition or a hit that you get involving your home, your family, your property, or maybe a more compassionate connection that you make involving your family. There could be something going on here where you need to maybe funnel some money into family, like maybe your family reaches out and they need some kind of help or something along those lines, and you need to take on that responsibility and you feel like you can right now. For some people, that may be part of this energy as well, or it might be the other way around where your family helps you out in some way. All right. And then for Capricorn and Capricorn rising. So for Capricorns, this full moon is happening in your first house. It's you. It's highlighting you. All about Capricorn. This is a really beautiful energy where you could be recognized for something. It's like, finally, maybe you thought you were going to get the recognition last month when we had that first full moon in Capricorn, and it just did not come to fruition, or not all the way, or in the way that you wanted it to. And now you finally get that. There's something like a big major energy that's coming full circle that you're closing out right now. A big part of who you were, you're finally moving on from, and you're finally letting go of. There could have been a major disruptive energy in your fifth house involving children, your romantic partnerships. It wouldn't have been that negative because in your fifth house, it's trining your ascendant sun or moon. But in the last couple of weeks, there was a little bit of friction, we should say, in the area of romance, in the area of sex and sexuality, or in the area of your children. And that's being resolved, and you're finally feeling more like yourself again. You're finally feeling like things are coming back online in your relationships, because this is a really good energy for coming back into balance between you and your partner if you are are somebody who's in partnership. So I love this energy for that as well. This is, again, I feel like you're just in the spotlight for something, like baseline. Like if nothing else, Capricorns are going to be feeling really good, especially end degree Capricorns. If you have a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees, especially that 25 to 30 degrees, you're going to be feeling like it's your time to shine. And use this energy wisely, because whatever it is that you want to create, whatever changes you want to make so you can express yourself creatively, whatever it is that you want to do that you love and that you feel really excited about and that lights you up, now is the time where you can take that and you can channel it into who you are and the way that you show up into the world and make that a part of you, a part of your identity. And so I love this energy for that. And then for Aquarius and Aquarius rising, this full moon is happening in your 12th house. And so not the most social full moon. It's kind of like you want to hide. It's, the moon is full and everyone's like out and about, and it's the time usually where the energies are more active and more social, and you're just not feeling it because you're diving deeper into your creativity. You're diving deeper into your spirituality. You're diving deeper into your imagination. And that is one of the best ways to use this energy. You can take whatever it is that you're dreaming up, whatever impressions you're getting, whatever you're envisioning for yourself, and very easily translate that into reality with this energy. There probably was a disruption involving your home, your place of living, your property, or your family over the last couple of weeks. And that might have like rattled you a little bit, especially if it was, the Mars, if the Mars-Uranus conjunction at the end degrees was squaring your ascendant, sun, or moon. So if you have your ascendant, sun, or moon, 25 to 30 degrees, this might have been, actually, I would say 20 to 30 degrees. You might have been put through the ringer the past couple of weeks. And now is a time where you finally just get to rest. It's like, thank goodness. This is an energy and a weekend where you should pull yourself out of the world. You should just spend time journaling and reading fantasy novels and, doing whatever it is that you like to do to unwind. That opens up your imagination and your intuition. And this is a time where your intuition can help you to manifest more money, because that is something that you might be struggling with a little bit, over the past year or so. And this is also a really beautiful time where you can get that perspective through taking yourself out of it. You can get that perspective on how to get things settled and deal with the aftermath of the disruption that has occurred over the last couple of weeks involving your home, your family, your property, you personally, or your relationships. And then finally, last but never least, we have Pisces and Pisces rising. So for Pisces and Pisces rising, this full moon is happening in your 11th house, which is the house of friends, social networks, group associations, and people you surround yourself with by choice. And I love this energy for you for a lot of reasons. If you are a Pisces ascendant, sun, or moon anywhere from 25 to 30 degrees, this is in a beautiful sextile with you, with your stuff. And so this is going to feel really, really nice. This is a really social energy for Pisces. This is one of the best times this weekend for you to get out there and connect with other people, connect with the people that you love. You want to go out and connect with people that you have really good, really deep, really compassionate, almost like a spiritual connection with. And if you don't have that with these people, you'll form that with new people while you're out and about. This could also be where a friendship has reached its culmination and you're like, this is as much as it's ever going to be. And that's okay. You're going to accept it, and you're going to be like, okay, this just kind of needs to end. We need to start separating very gently from, this connection with each other, because this is all it's ever going to be, and it's not going to be more than that, and that's okay. And I need to kind of let go of trying to make it something that it's not. That might be a big part of this energy too. There could be something that you started involving, or that first started to come to fruition last month, I should say, around the 21st of June, involving your friends, social networks, a group or association or organization that you're a part of, or that you're in a leadership role within, that is going to fully come all all the way around full circle this month and around the time of this full moon, and it'll reach its resolution point. And you might be in the spotlight when it comes to that group or organization, or when it comes to your social circle. Like if you go out, you might feel like you are the guest of honor at the party, even if you're not, because this is a really beautiful energy where all eyes are on you, and it's a good thing. You're going to have a lot of really interesting, very unusual conversations over the course of the next few days that are going to open your mind and change your perspective on a lot of things. And this is just a really feel good, like fun time for you. So definitely take advantage of this while it's here, because energy like this doesn't come around very often. And especially this year, it doesn't come around very often. So you're definitely going to want to, make use of that. All right. And so that is all of the signs in my forecast for all 12 signs. Next week, or next 2 weeks from now, we're going to be talking about the new moon in the sign of Leo. This new moon is going to be at 12 degrees in the sign of Leo. It's going to be in a sextile with Mars and Jupiter, which are forming a powerful conjunction that comes exact on August 14th. And for context, this new moon happens on the 4th. And so it's going to start to highlight that in a really big way. This is a catalyzing energy that's going to get you really pumped and really excited and enthusiastic about something that you need to move forward with. And so I love this energy for manifestation in particular. It's like a big energy, like a jolt that you're just going to be like lunge forward into something, and you're going to be so excited and brimming with positivity, brimming with enthusiasm, brimming with optimism about the thing that is going to be indicated by where this falls in your chart, which we'll talk about when we get into that forecast in 2 weeks. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss that. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, share it with a friend who could benefit from the information that I shared with you today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.